Hello, everyone, and welcome. And y'all, if you have questions that you want to feel free to type in too as we go along. Feel free to do that.
So if you're new to Zoom, at the bottom of your screen, there's a little bubble that says chat. And you can click on that bubble. It'll open up a window, and then you can just type in there, and everyone will be able to read your question. You also have the option somewhere of raising your hand. I think the easiest thing is if you have a question, just raise your hand and we'll see you. Give you a chance to ask your question. Hey, Susan. Susan Johnson's on with us as well.
Hi, guys.
Susan.
How are you?
See where I am? I have to show you where I am because I'm at my parents'. Can you see how beautiful that is?
Gorgeous.
Well, it's really dark here in Canada, so you can't see anything but dark.
This is where we get to hold our leadership retreats every year, and we're doing one in August. So, yeah, we're very lucky. So
Beautiful.
That is gorgeous. I'm on the East Coast too, so it's dark, and I'm at a Memorial Day party, so I might slip out for just a minute or two, and then come back on, just as a heads up.
Do we need to know what's in your cup?
My cup?
Yes, what are you drinking? Do we need to know something good?
Oh, I'm not. So I actually I have a big thing of water with some lime oil in it. But before I came, because I had a double shot of Ninja with a nitro in it before I came.
All right. All right.
I've only done that at convention. I'm like, I am smushing because I've been just working so much lately. I'm like, I am smushing downtime and fun time into this weekend. Not going to sleep. Staying up past 10.
What have you got going there, Laura?
Sulfurzyme in my water.
Nice. Nice.
But I will say I've had a couple of glasses of wine ahead of time, so.
It just makes it all relaxing, right?
Right?
You can see
Right.
the carbohydrate.
My dad always cracks a really nice bottle of wine for dinner, and we had steak, so it was really nice.
Nice. Nice. Oh, it is so great to see so many people out there. Loving it.
Welcome, everybody. Welcome, welcome. Well, should we get started, Tricia? What do you think? Let's get going.
Yes, let's go ahead and get started. I'm Tricia Bart, one of your Crossline Game Plan Squad leaders. And actually, all of us are online with you. Courtney just popped on, so we're all really excited to be here with you for our Sunday night Q&A. This is an opportunity for you to ask questions of us, of each other, give us some of your takeaways for the week, what you're really loving about the process, maybe what you're finding a little challenging about the process, so that we can all be here to support you and help you stay consistent through this. Because just the fact that you've made it through 5 days and you're here with us tonight is extraordinary to me. And it tells me that you all truly are Diamonds Rising. You've got what it takes to stick with this and to get through this training and to put it in place for yourself and your teams. As a big green, you guys have heard me talk about it in some of the other videos. I love systems. So when it comes to answering your questions tonight, I'm probably going to turn you right back to answers that come from the game plan, which may kind of annoy you, but I really feel like all the answers are in there. So, and I find that when you do something that's really simple and you can point your team to the same thing to do, it's easier for them to duplicate what you're doing. The simpler you make it, the more duplication you're going to see in your team. So if you can find the answers to your questions in game plan, it's going to be so much easier to point your leaders to the same place. Anyone else have anything they'd like to add on that or something else before we move into the questions tonight?
I would just quickly say that, one of the things for those of you out there that are growing, the 5 of us together have just really found an amazing synergy cross line all over the country, and we are so enjoying working together. And I know that people put out cross-line buddies and looking for them. If you can find people that you can work with from other lines and do these kind of things, I mean, we've had a ball. We've really had a lot of fun getting to know each other and setting up this cross-line. And I would encourage you to try to do the same thing with your own self somewhere along the Young Living family.
And actually, would all of our leaders go ahead and say a little hello and how you're doing? Laura, you want to pipe in there?
Sure, I'd be happy to. Hey, everybody. So my name is Laura Erdman-Luntz. Really quick intro. I am a gold leader, and I'm on the verge of platinum, which is very exciting. And I have a lot of people in this training, and this training has been phenomenal. And I'll just piggyback Trisha just saying cross-line buddies are the best. And I would also add that just take your time. It doesn't have to happen right away. We are going to be together for 5 weeks. That's a long time. Watch people's comments, see the people that you resonate with, and hop on with the people that feel good for you. You know, message them and see if they're interested in being one of your buddies. So welcome, everyone.
Melissa, you want to chime in?
Yes, I do. I'm Melissa Russo. I'm here in the dark. I wanted to remind everybody to also, because I'm a blue, so I'm really excited about the prizes. So I just wanted to remind everybody on the call to make sure that you send the tracker information. If you don't have it, you could download it under the files to your upline sponsor by tonight, if that's okay. So we could do a raffle for everyone that has completed week 1 of, again, go at your own pace. So that's what's most important. Can you bring Tia in with you? I let the dog out at the party and I'm nervous.
Hi guys, can you hear me okay? Yes? Okay, cool. I have crazy internet out here in the country, so I just never know if anyone's going to be able to hear me or not. My name is Courtney Vogel, and I'm a Platinum Leader with Young Living, and I'm just so excited for this Q&A. I think that it's really to be able to get different insight from different leaders. You know, my team asks me questions all the time, but I think that it's so valuable to be able to get insight from other personality types and other leaders who have found their success in maybe a completely different way than what I have. And so I'm so excited for my team to be able to get different insight from different leaders tonight. And I look forward to learning from them as well. So thank you guys for joining us.
Cool. All right, so we're going to dive in with the questions that some of you posted on our Facebook group page. I'm going to start with Val's question. I see you're on tonight, Val. Thanks for joining us tonight. She says she has a few questions working around these currently, but would love input. 1, where do you all hold classes? Is it always at your home or the home of someone in your downline? Well, I've got the floor, so I'll start. Yes, I often hold classes in my home. I also look for free places to hold classes or inexpensive places to hold classes. Now, you might have gone to your local library and had them say, oh, no, it's a business. You can't have your class here. But they may have a room that you could pay a small fee to rent to have a private meeting in. Restaurants will often allow you to use a private dining room if you're having a meal at the same time. So those are a couple of places that I have used, in addition to a space where I was having a practice. That was a pretty obvious one. I had a space there too. Any of our other leaders want to chime in on where you hold classes?
Yeah, here on the East Coast, and I don't know whether they have them on the West Coast, we have the Corner Bakery Cafes. Corner Bakery Cafes are a franchise, but they have a free room that you can book, and they have meals there as well, salads and really good healthy things. We hold them there often. It's a really great resource, as well as a Panera or something like that, but they actually have a closed free room that you can use.
Yeah, Val, hi Val, by the way, good to see you. Yeah, I was going to say, so Carrie, our upline Val, she uses Panera Bread, and she will just post on her page. She'll say, hey, I'm going to be at this Panera Bread at the corner of this and this between this hours. And she, you know, she had the most incredible results with that. People that she didn't even know wanted to discuss oils would just show up. So it's not necessarily like a scheduled class. It's just, hey, I'll be there from 6 to 9, come by and we'll chat. And she's had like crazy success lining people up. So Panera Bread, you know, Corner Bakery, like Susan was saying, those are really great options.
You know, I'll also add that I've used regular coffee shops. We actually have one around the corner from us called Rustica that a bunch of us use because they have a free room to rent. But occasionally I just do it in the downstairs and I make it obvious what I'm doing. And I've actually had 2 people come up to me and ask me for more information as a result of that. So I don't hide what I'm doing. I make it quite obvious. And occasionally someone comes up. I've had my Zyto out in those areas, and I've had a couple people approach me with the Zyto, just curious what I'm doing. Churches can also be a great place.
I have to also second that.
Go ahead, Melissa. Sorry.
Oh, no, go ahead. Churches.
That's it.
And I'll
Okay.
also add, now that the weather is getting nicer, the city I was just in had a farmer's market that was in a local town square that was a public space. And I just called our park department in advance to make sure that it wasn't a problem. And we had a class right there in the park right at the same time that the farmer's market was going on. So we had a lot of interest, people just walking up and joining into our class because we had a like-minded community of people in the same environment. So I think just opening up your radar to options that are out there is going to find you all kinds of cool places to have classes.
And I just wanted to follow up with what Laura said as far as being really obvious when you're at coffee shops. I know I do a lot of one-on-ones, and I'll meet people at coffee shops and things like that. And I very often have somebody else afterwards wanting to talk to me about the oils, and it's to meet strangers that way. I like how I don't know if it was in that book, but that's the guerrilla marketing of talking to anyone. And I know that was one of the questions too, as far as, well, how do you just talk to people in Walmart and things like that? I usually let it come up. Well, I know we'll probably approach that, but I usually let it come up in conversation. But I also love carrying around my Young Living bag. Like it's one of those bags that has the,
Lucy bag.
Yeah, one of those class. Yeah, so that is a conversation starter. Like, I mean, that's the best advertising. And then I'm always smelling good or licking something, like peppermint on my hand. I'm always giving people little samples, but I just like Laura said, like I kind of emanate being a product of the product or whatnot. So it actually starts conversations, just me being me. But then as far as having classes, I'm wondering what everyone has to say. I feel like I do get the best turnout when we do home parties. I don't know but that's just from my experience. I feel like when people do a home party and they invite the way that Sarah said in the book and follow up with people and send them a text the day before, just confirming, I feel like we do get the best follow through with people like showing up to class.
I see Amanda had your hand raised. Did you want to say something, Amanda?
I've done a couple of like stress reliever events with like adult coloring book at a local brewery.
That's cool.
So it was a really nice quiet area and good beer. Just a really nice energy. So
nice.
It was very fun. And people enjoyed it. It just wasn't it was a good spot. I liked it. I need to find a new spot. My spot they moved on me. So I need to find a new spot.
I see that someone asked a question. Do you see that, Tricia?
In the chat.
So someone asked a question, if anyone knows when the samples are going to be back in stock, the little samples, I think the seed packs. I don't know. I haven't heard anything. Has any of the other?
No, to be honest, we really don't get any advanced information about when things are coming back in stock. The best information on that is the out of stock list itself, and just checking back every once in a while. Of course, if you use oily tools, the moment it comes back in stock. You can get a push notification about that.
Yeah, and I tell you that I'm up here in Canada, and something my Canadian line does is they actually take their business card, they have a hole punch that punches the hole, and they can screw on one of those little tiny drams right onto their business card. I know people have seen them. I know it's part of Young Living, but they make their own up here and attach them right to their business cards. It's just much cheaper, and it's a great way to share not only your oil, but your business card.
And I'm looking right now on Oily Tools, the product notifications.
And I have another thing that
the only thing right now that's out is Peace and Calming. All the other sample packs are in stock.
Cool.
Nice. And I have one that I do. It's very inexpensive, especially when I'm doing vendor fairs. And then when I have extra ones left over, I'll just guerrilla market them out like to people. But I do a cotton ball in a little plastic baggie with my business card. And usually I'll put a little note, like if it's peppermint, I'll explain what peppermint does, and it could be invigorating and help with focus. And I'll tell them, put this in your car vent on your way home, and then that's giving them an aromatherapy experience right then. And so I just wanted to share that. I call them sniffy bags.
Well, and I like Sarah Harnish's now with her CD. I'm going to stock up in a major way at convention and just giving people a CD saying, I'll give you this if you promise to listen to the CD, and being able to hand it to that person. I think is brilliant.
Awesome. So if, does anyone else have a venue where they like to hold classes before we move on from this question? I will mention one more place. Perhaps you have a friend who teaches yoga. Often yoga studios are open to the idea of having an aromatherapy class, an essential oils class. But does anyone else have a venue where you've been successful offering classes? Yeah, Abby, go ahead.
Yeah, at my chiropractor's office. I've done several events there and have gotten probably at least, I would say almost 10 people. The most recent one that was most successful was she had hosted a ladies' night that happened to coincide with Deer Opener. And so it was a vendor event. And I did, just a simple little raffle thing. If people would fill out, a little survey about what upcoming classes they might like to attend. And then all of those people I followed up with, and I think I've so far enrolled 3 of them. So that was successful.
Hi, Trish. I hold classes at our dental office and at a chiropractor's office. But we also have a couple of health food stores in town that will host events as well. So if you have professional offices that have waiting rooms that in the evening aren't busy, they will often allow you to set up and maybe become clients.
Yeah, I think the key to many of these is building the relationship with the owner of the business first, so that they know you and they're comfortable with you coming into their space. That's funny that you mentioned about teaching at a health food store. I taught at a wonderful store in Springfield, Illinois, many, many times. And I actually taught in their kitchen. It wasn't a cooking class. It was just a small space that they had where we had our classes, but it was a lot of fun. So let's go on. Val had another question. What are some tactics you all have used?
Tricia, before you go into
that. Oh, sure. Go ahead, Laura.
I just had one thing, because Patty just made a comment in the chat before we talk about this, how she did a wellness center class, but she's worried about duplication because people think they need a wellness center to do this, and this would be true for any venue, right? That's a specialty venue. And that is, whenever you do a class in a specialty venue, you be sure you emphasize, you know what, this isn't how I usually do this. I really prefer to do this in people's homes. That's usually what I do. It's really easy. We get together with a few friends and we talk about the oils, whatever that is. And to do that, I know I learned that from Adam Green, that he used to do that when he did expos. He would say, look, I don't usually do this, because expos are not duplicatable, right? People think, oh my God, I don't want to be doing what you're doing. So to say, look, this is what I usually do. I usually do it in someone's homes. And in fact, if you sign up, I would love to come to your house, show you how to use the oils, invite 3 or 4 friends over, and we will do it for everybody. Okay, I hope that helps you, Patty.
Excellent. Okay, so on to our next question. This was also from Val. What are some tactics you all have used, and my phone just turned off, all have used for reaching people outside of your friend family circle? And we're not going to defer on this question, Val, but I got to tell you, Sarah's got a great plan for you, a great system for you for marketing. So I'm going to go past that a little bit. For me personally, when I'm feeling kind of dry on who to reach out to, I'll do a vendor event, because it's a great way to get a huge number of leads. And then your job is really following up with all those people. Anyone else for who you reach to outside of your friend and family circle? How you find people?
Of home parties, because if I'm doing a home party for someone, I'm meeting a whole new circle of friends and people who then in turn I might help them do a home party, or ideally the host will help them do a home party. I mean, that's one thing I love about Young Living. I'm meeting people I would have never met otherwise, and I'm a people person.
Yeah, and I will add to that, Melissa, is that I really do find that when we're focused in particular on helping people, I'm here to help support you, to get chemicals out of your house, to help you sleep better, et cetera, et cetera. Who in your life needs this? And can I help you help the people in your life? So when you're doing a home party for somebody, and in fact, because there's a lot. Let me step back a little bit. So my actual personal Royal Crown Diamond upline is Vicki Apper, and she talks definitely about just do events in your home and invite people over to your home. And I've definitely embraced Sarah Harnish's because I've been embracing the game plan to see how it goes. And I love how she says the challenge with that is not everyone's comfortable coming to your home. But if you go into, so if your friend is Jen, and Jen has a friend Becky, and Becky would love to go to Jen's home, but she's definitely uncomfortable coming to your home. But if you go to Jen's home, she'd be happy to come. Does that make sense? Yeah, just give me a nod. So being able to embrace other people in their homes and their circle, it helps you then get into their circles as well, and to spread out as a result of going into someone else's home.
And this is getting into, I want to say chapter 8 of Game Plan is where she talks about how to do this. And that's actually my chapter next week that I've already prepared for. So I'm really excited for you guys to read that chapter. I think it's going to be super helpful.
Any other thoughts before we move on? Okay, Val, thank you so much for your questions. We really appreciate it. Next up, we had a question from Abby, and I haven't had a chance to check to see. Oh, yes, Abby is on today. Yay. She says, I'd love opinions on Sarah's Simple 101 script versus using others that our teams have developed.
Can I say something around this one? Okay, y'all. So tomorrow night, I am going to do your live stream. Tomorrow's my day. Your live stream tomorrow night, I'm going to talk about your come from, which is way more important than anything you can say. So I'm sure there's lots of opinions about scripts, and I'd love to hear what you have to say. But I think for the most part, your come from is going to be so much more important than what you say. So I think we can get really wrapped up in exactly the right script that creates the most conversion. But it's your own attitude behind it that's even more important than the actual words you say, which we'll talk about tomorrow night. So that's my personal opinion.
And I think that for me, I have found that different personalities need different things. I totally agree with what Laura just said, and I think that that's vital. And I think that people can totally read your energy and read what your motive is before you even speak, which is huge. But for me, with my green type of personality, and maybe Trisha will chime in and say whether she agrees with this or not, but just the game plan script for me is not enough. I didn't find it to be, it didn't explain enough about the oils that were in the kit. So I would need to know more about the purpose of each of the oils in the kit in order for me to want to purchase the kit. So I think that for different personality types, that's why I kind of have now woven in a lot of the aspects of the game plan script, which I love, especially the focus on getting chemicals out of your home. You can't avoid that now. I think that's amazing. But I also add in my own stuff from the scripts that I've developed over the years, what I've found to be most successful when I've taught classes.
And I'll just say that whatever you're doing, as long as it's duplicatable, other people feel like they could do it as well, then that's the key. And the game plan makes that really simple. But so whatever you're doing, as long as whoever you are presenting to, if they come away with a feeling of, I can do that, then I think that's key.
Susan, did you want to chime in?
Yeah, I would just say that I have to agree with everyone else. I think that, again, her script is good for some people just the way it is, but I think that everyone needs to make it their own in their own way. And I also think you need, again, those color personalities. You have to look at who you're speaking to. You know, if you're a yellow and you make it all yellow and you've got greens, they're going to walk away and not have been supported. So I think that you have to look at who your audience is. I have to think you look at all of the personality colors and then making it your own. Some of her wording doesn't always resonate with everybody, but what she puts in there, just like Courtney said, is so important. She's got key pieces that need to be put into everybody's presentation. But making it your own might also make it more comfortable to say as you're saying it. So I totally agree.
Yeah, and I just second everything that our other leaders have said. Customizing the script to make it your own. And it's interesting, Courtney, that you say that, because I made my husband sit through my first 101 with Sarah's script. And he said, oh my gosh, there's just so much information in there. He's a big blue. And I was like, are you kidding? I want this, this, and this in there. So I think she has done a really good job of balancing the different personality types. And, you know, if you have new leaders that are just getting started, how easy is it to say, gosh, the script is right in the book. Just read the script. So that's where what Melissa was talking about getting to duplication is really a powerful, powerful thing here. All right. So next up we had a question from, I'm sorry, would anyone else like to chime in on that? On scripts? Yeah, Amanda, go ahead.
I was just wondering, is there any way that, I know we have a lot of scripts out there. There's a lot of scripts to be able to be used, including the one that in the game plan. Is there any way that we can get it so that it can be an editable document? So that we can make it our own and add pieces of ourselves to it without having to write all over it?
Yeah, so I'll speak to that a little bit, right? Because it's a little frustrating. I don't know about anybody else. I couldn't get a really clean photocopy of the darn thing. And I understand Sarah is coming out with a script book, which might make it easier to photocopy. The challenge is that you can't really share copyrighted material, even with your own team. They'd have to actually own the book. So what I personally did, I have a scanner that will translate what it scans into text. And so I was able to do that right into a Word document and edit it that way. Has anyone else come up with a simple solution that works for them?
For us here, there are a group of us that are all together. We all have the book, and one of our team members who is good at typing and wanted to type it out actually typed it out and shared it with those of us that have the book. So again, that was her way of learning the script. It was to read it, to type it. That's how she learns. So if you got someone on your team that'll do it and shares it with those of you that have the book, it can be done that way as well.
And I know that Sarah also has a flash drive. Had anyone come across Sarah's flash drive and what's on there? I think you actually have to see her in person. So if you're going to convention, she's going to be at the Aroma Share event. And I think the flash drive might have the scripts on it. Does anyone know? Melissa, you saw her, didn't you?
I did see her. I'm wondering, like, yeah, we have a flash drive and it has so much on it. It's like so much on it. And I guess, am I not supposed to be sharing that? I mean, I would love to create documents and share it, but not if it's copyright written, and I'm not supposed to. But if you are going to Aroma Share, I know. So you guys could let me know. But but there's a lot on there. And if you guys are going to Aroma Share at convention, come visit me. Euler table with Patty. So if I haven't met you in person yet, please come over and give me a big hug, please. Or if you're not a hugger, if you're a red, a little high five or a hey.
Hey, can you guys share Aroma Share? I'm sure there's a lot of people out there who don't know what Aroma Share is at convention and might be going. Can you guys just give a little background on that?
Sure. Aroma Share is a 2-day event where vendors who offer products that go along with Young Living, maybe it's jewelry. In this case, Sarah Harnish will be there. It's a really wonderful selection of people who have side businesses involving essential oils and Young Living, have gathered together. It's like a huge vendor event, like you might go to as a Young Living oiler, but it's all people that are interested in selling us their products. And I believe it's going to be at the Hilton this year. It'll be Tuesday and Wednesday. So there are farm days those days, but no events. So you can get over there. I think it's a $5 entry fee if you don't buy your ticket in advance, and just wander around, bring your wallet. You'll want stuff.
Do you know how we get tickets in advance?
There is an Aroma Share. You know what, guys? There's an Aroma Share Facebook group, and we'll pop on there tonight. I'll pop on there tonight into our Facebook group and put the link up so that you can get yourself into that group. And you can buy a ticket in advance. I think it's $350 in advance. Who else going to convention? Woohoo! Awesome. Okay. So let's pop on to our next question. This is from Michelle. Michelle. Yes, Michelle's on tonight too. You guys are great. So I know the statistics, only 4% of distributors actually want to build a Young Living business. I'm a senior star. I have 45 people on my team, 1 retail customer, and approximately 8 to 10 people who have just purchased oils from me in the past, Avon Lady style. I need an awesome, short, impactful wow script to get people to really want to share and build. I don't have any strong builders, and I definitely don't want to give up. I have a lot of new members over the last 3 months. I'm on fire. Yay! After this first week of game plan, I really want to keep going strong. Can you please discuss this on the call tonight? Thank you. I really appreciate, oh, thank you, Michelle. She really appreciates us. Well, we appreciate you too. So Michelle, there is a 7-step system to the game plan. And the very first step is getting that mini into people's hands. And that is your script. So use a third-party tool. You don't need to come up with a wow script for why people should be doing this business. You can let Sarah's tools do that for you. So that, that's me talking to the system that we're working with here. So does someone else have something you'd like to share on this about how to help people connect to their why for doing the business?
Oh, I have so many things. Where can I even begin? And you know what? I will tell you, my dear, we will keep sharing throughout the next month as we go along. I feel the biggest thing for you, though, is to get really excited about the business itself and the prospect for really helping people. And that is tapping into Sarah's energy, too. Can you feel Sarah's energy about, oh my gosh, this is such an amazing solution for so many people as far as financial support and or finding your purpose in life. I have someone actually who recently started with me who just needed a purpose. She doesn't need money. She's just fine with money. She just needed a purpose. She needed something to help her feel like there was something she was doing in her each and every day. And I feel like it's when you said you have 45 people, I'm looking at that going, when I read that question, I thought, well, you at least have 4 people who are interested in the business. Making sure they know. It's amazing how many people you feel like you've told about the business, but they haven't actually heard you and or you haven't actually told them. There might have been a hint or a way you talked about it around, or you beat around the bush a little bit without actually saying, hey, do you want to do this with me? One of the things we talk about on my team is we talk about creating your dream team and actually approaching people and saying, you know what? You're on my dream team. I would love to do this with you. It would be amazing if we could do this together. Oy, you guys, my signal is getting a little weak, so my apologies if I break off. And seriously, it's okay if you don't want to, but I just want you to know that I think this would be so much fun to do together. I think we would have a lot of fun. And that just strokes people's ego. That's really a lovely thing to do for people. And to be sure that you are talking about that with people. Now, having said that, my own personal Diamond Upline had 100 people before she got her first builder. So I guess my other message for you is hang in there and keep going. Okay? She's now a Diamond, so it worked out. And she actually hit Diamond pretty darn quickly.
You know, I'd like to echo off that when you talk about the fact that you never know when someone's going to go become a business builder. I had someone that was an orphan was placed in my line. For 2 years, I sent her notes and emails, and the game plan mini, and one of the last correspondence, I dropped it in there, and she emailed me back and said, now I've been emailing her and trying to touch base with her for a long time because I've never met her. When I sent her the mini, she said, oh, I've been dying to business build. It's just, someone said to me the other day, why don't you do this? You love the products. You sent me that mini, and wow, isn't that great timing? So you never know. Again, I've been communicating with her for a long time, but she wasn't ready to hear. She thought corporate was communicating with her, not me personally, even though they were personal notes and I'd sent her samples. She wasn't at that space. When someone said to her, you should business build, it all of a sudden became her space, and that game plan mini was like gold to her. And she's now one of my business builders. So you just don't know when that's going to kick over. So again, repeating that message, putting it at the bottom of your communications, dropping someone a game plan mini, I think that some of it's just being consistent and persistent.
I'm going to pop in there too. So I put this question on just like a couple hours ago, so I don't know if it got on the list. So I'm going to ask it. So I had sent some game plans out to folks, mini game plans, and one of them went to somebody who has hosted 2 home workshops in the past where I went out to, definitely has been earning little thank you checks. So I definitely sent her one. And the response I got back from her today when I sent her a text saying, something like, hey, have you had a chance to look at it? Would love to have you do this. What do you think? Are you in? And she came back with one of those classic excuses, I just don't have time. So my question is, how much do I keep working on somebody like that and trying to overcome her excuse of, Young Living, well, yeah, Young Living is your way out. It's going to create more time versus just moving on to the next person.
How close are you with her?
She's a personally enrolled. I used to work with her. She lives on the other side of the city now, so I see her maybe twice a year. So not super close, but she is a teacher, and so she has the summer off. So I thought the timing would be great. So I just, and it was interesting because I had just, caught up on that chapter today, and if she had already previously said, yep, I want to build, and then was, facing, coming up with, I just can't find the time to put the events on my schedule, I definitely would want to work with her through those excuses. But I'm trying to get a gauge on how much do I even try to, drag her into it. When she really hasn't, put her hand up and said, yes, I want this.
Do you really want to drag her through it?
No,
Then don't.
I don't want to drag her.
Yeah, and the other thing I would say to her, if you ever asked her in that conversation, is, what is your end goal with Young Living? Is it? I know you love to, you love the products and you've been sharing them. Do you want to get the products for free? Is that something that might not want a business build, but do you want the products for free? And then work with her on maybe finding, we call it the Me plus 3 T3, Adam Green calls it the 2 plus 2, whatever you want to call it, but giving her just a little group where she could get her products for free. And then what you don't know is if that could potentially spark her where she gets enough of a check where she says, maybe I should look at this again. And as Debbie just reminded me, she follows Melissa Pepping all the time. Melissa Pepping was asked 7 times if she wanted to business build before she did. And look at Melissa Pepping. She's just a perfect example. So maybe even sitting down with her, just finding her, what is your game? Would you like to get the products for free? Because then you could work on finding the right amount of people where that might actually spill into a check that she goes, wow, this is really cool. Maybe I do want to do more.
Yeah. Well, and then the other thing I was just thinking of while you were talking was even maybe just asking her what her perception of how much time it would take, because maybe she's assuming it would be that I'm working on it 40 hours a week, when it can truly be just a short time. Although I sent her the mini game plan, and that's covered in there. So
Yes, but did she look at it?
yeah, I don't know.
Again, that's not for me, right? And for
Yeah.
some, it might be the right time, but for others, it might not have been. And again, it doesn't have to be pushy. You don't have to drag. But again, just say, hey, what is your end game? Would you like the products for free?
Okay, thank you.
I'd also like to add one more thing to this, Abby. Often those people we find that are so busy they don't have time for this have something in their life that is not getting the time that they want to give it. Whether, maybe they love their job, maybe they hate their job, but they feel they have to do it because it makes other things possible. But maybe they're not getting that quality time with their partner. Maybe they're not getting that quality time with their kiddos, and they're missing out on pieces of life. Maybe they're not getting to travel the way they always dreamed that they could. And if you can find that thing that just brings a tear to her eye because she's missing out on it, that might be the key to unlock her door.
Thank you.
Sure. All right, gang. Well, those were all the questions that were posted in our Facebook group. So we'll open it up to the floor. I don't really see any questions on the chat. Patty, thanks so much for posting the link on the Oily events, and we'll be sure to get it on the group page so everyone can find it as well. But are there any questions from the rest of the group tonight? Yeah, hey, Amanda, go ahead.
When it comes to your vendor events, the ones that you do, I also enjoy going to vendor events. It makes it more like they're coming to me because they want what I have. What type of, I'm still in the lowball, not quality, but the less expensive events. Where do you see the most success when you're looking at a vendor event, when you only really want to do one, maybe 2, 3 over the summertime, so you want to do one a month? What should I be looking for when I'm looking at a vendor event, or that you've found successful?
I know for me personally, I stick to ones that are related to health and wellness. I don't just go to generic vendor events, because most people there are just not thinking about their wellness when they come to an event like that. And they're more likely looking for the shiny thing as they go by. So that's
part of my problem.
So yeah, I'm the same way. I am very frugal with where I spend my dollars for those kinds of events. So I want to hit something that's in my target market for sure.
I'll just throw out there something kind of interesting. And if you're at a point where you are just growing and you need to jump at some of those events that you might not particularly want to jump at because you haven't been able to extend yourself, I know that I have a downline on that actually went to a vendor event, was like a little home event, and didn't really want to be there, but went. Nothing really happened, but she got one person who invited her to another event, and yeah, she got one person, but that person she got from that looks like they're going to be a business builder. So so based on where you are in your young living business or growing, you might want to try to determine in the beginning where you're trying to get some of those newer connections, you might have to sit through some of those smaller events if you have the time, because you never know what they might produce, right?
I've had some of my biggest numbers are coming from vendor events. My biggest leg right now is a vendor event add-on, and I have a consistent 200 to 300 PV order from a vendor event as well. But it is I've found a lot of that you're a network marketer, yet all of these words that your conversation is such negativity that's come on. But it's just been an interesting learning experience, and I'm just trying to figure out what you guys look for when you're looking at particular vendor events.
Yeah, and again, I think Trish is absolutely right. Wellness is really important when you can find it, but if you are struggling for venues or you feel you're running out of your circle, if you have the time and the ability, it might not be bad. And it might not be the people that are coming to the vendor event that you actually spend your time with. It could be the other vendors at the event that you spend your time with. So to look for vendor events that might have other multi-level marketing type people that are doing vendors, or people who are selling that you think might enjoy an opportunity like Young Living, might not be a bad thing. Again, your time is valuable, but if you are struggling, that's a good way to look at it.
I totally have to second, because I've done vendor events where, you know, I'll have like 100 people to follow up with. And I've done vendor events where like they did no advertising and it was just all vendors. But I have to say two things. One, I feel like I'm always there for that one or two people that I would have never met.
Absolutely.
And it's amazing. But also, those events, no matter if they're packed or not packed, are the others. They already have the mindset and the work ethic of doing something like that and being out there. And sometimes, yeah, I've met the most amazing people. So I just really encourage people not to get discouraged with vendor events. And, you know, like if you don't have a lot of people come, it really is that like one or two people. And the same thing with home parties. Like, I think some of my best home parties have been home parties where there's just 2 or 3 people there, because I get to have more personal. That relationship building is so much more intimate and makes so much more of a successful connection, I think, than the bigger events. So one-on-ones, starting small, not being discouraged if whatever event, whether it's a vendor or a home party, is small, you know, imagined or wanted or in my opinion.
I will also throw in my own 2 cents around this, and that I've chosen vendor events similar to, I think, what Susan was saying, people who do health and wellness, but like La Leche League or something, where there have been birth centers and there have been wellness centers, and I've actually gotten them signed up. So other vendors who aren't necessarily multi-level, but people who are interested in the oils and interested in wellness and interested in having workshops, etc. So I have to giggle because I'm thinking all of my vendor events, I think I've always only signed up other vendors, but they've all turned into business builders ultimately. So definitely a good thing. And I will also throw in, just to piggyback on Melissa, my worst home event was actually huge. I had a ton of people. Nobody canceled. Usually at least 2 people do. So I overbooked. So I was overbooked. And I only got 2 people signed up. The 2 people became my biggest builders. So, you know, there it is. I was so bummed when they left. I thought I only got 2 people signed up, and then they're my biggest builders. So you just don't know.
And Mary Young is always talking now about taking everything back to the kitchen table. That's her whole thing now, especially when all of the FDA compliance stuff took place and we had to be super careful what we're saying in groups of people, and especially on social media. You know, she's like, take it back to the kitchen table, what you were doing when you were signing people up long before social media even was in existence, and just sitting down and talking to people, because nobody can take your testimony away from you. And so if you're sharing your testimony around a table with a few friends, then that's a very different story, a very different scenario altogether. And so she's like, take everything back to the kitchen table, and you're able to share more, and you're able to communicate with people in a way that you wouldn't have to worry about if you're doing it in a compliant, you know, way.
I have a question. Can you hear me?
Yep.
Okay, cool. So I have been thinking about maybe approaching the birth center where I went when I was pregnant with my son. And I was wondering, is that something that anyone else has done? Is there like any issue if I wanted to do like a class there? Like, obviously, if they said they were interested because they're more naturally minded, is that an issue like with FDA? Like, are they going to be like, oh, you know, you know what I mean? Is that Harry Waters? Is that even worth?
You would just have to be compliant. You just couldn't give any airs of being a doctor or anyone of any sort of clout like that. But you would be fine to teach a compliant class there.
Okay. I thought it might be, it's in a really good area too. So I thought it might be like nice because people are kind of, again, on the more naturally minded train.
Yeah, and if you're going to use a PowerPoint, just make sure you put in that disclaimer slide. You know, essential oils are not, you know, they're not used to treat, diagnose, cure, mitigate, or something like that. So that it comes out before you even open your mouth, people are already reading that and the disclaimer has been put up there. And that way, if you did have somewhat of a little slip, the disclaimer's already been up there.
Okay. Yeah, that's super great. Thank you.
Yeah, I've actually done a lot of teaching for nurses. They're very interested in essential oils. They love using them for themselves. Many of them would love to get them into the healthcare setting, and it may just not be an option for them. But absolutely go for it. And as the ladies have said, just keep it compliant, and you'll do great. You'll do great. And I also wanted to put a little button on the vendor event conversation, because after I spoke, I realized that two of my two largest legs both came through vendor events. One of them was a ladies' night, and the other one came through a vendors event that was just a niche market for me. It actually took place at a professional theater back in New Jersey. I have no idea why they were having a vendor event there. It wasn't a fundraiser, but I decided to show up there and met one of my future leaders. So if you have something that's special to you outside of the oils, that's also another opportunity if you can find a vendor event that's associated with it. Do we have any other questions tonight before we ring off?
You know, I'll just make one other comment that I actually have someone in my downline who joins clubs, knitters clubs, quilters clubs, reading book clubs. She does a different one about every quarter. She goes to Michael's and joins classes just so that she can pull out her oils and share. She's a person who is a mom, limited amount of time, you know, kids are at school, does it between buses, but she'll go find classes or workshops or thing. And again, she'll sit down and she'll pull out her oils. And so she's finding other people that have the same type of time that she does. So again, if you're looking for a new market, it's another way to do something and maybe learn a skill that you wanted to learn. Take up knitting or something like that.
Yeah, I can actually say that a huge number of my downline is from my nursing group, my breastfeeding support group. So I can't even tell you the amount of friendships and people in my downline that are a part of it, and then, you know, becoming builders themselves and like branching out. So all those sorts of support groups that are like-minded people, it helps you connect with them because you already have common interests.
Wonderful. Okay, well, if there are no other questions, do our leaders have anything else they'd like to add to our conversation tonight? Awesome. Well, thank you all so much.
I'm just really
Yes, Melissa, go ahead.
excited. Oh, so excited about week 2. Like, I feel like week 1 has a really solid foundation, but week 2, we are going to blow it up. So get excited, everybody. Get excited.
Hey guys, be sure you join me tomorrow night. I'm going to do a huge live stream. It's going to be a quick one. It's not going to be very long, but it's going to be a huge paradigm shift for y'all. So be sure you join tomorrow night from the live stream I planned for y'all at 6:30 Central. So that'd be 7:30 Eastern.
Great. Great. Thank you all. Enjoy some R&R with friends and family this weekend. We love you. We're so glad you're on the Game Plan squad with us, and we will see you soon. Good night, everybody.
Bye, guys. Thanks for coming.